Think about the universe and all the things that were hidden from us in a different way. Think about it this way. Everybody who learned something about the universe, about God, about what was written in those Bibles, and there were miscalculations. So I really don't think that we were lied to. I really don't think that's it. I think God was asking us to embrace things in a way that He's working them out or whatever. We always try to work them out and then we kind of mess them up a little bit or whatever. But think about that as a training. Think about that as tests. Like there's nothing really being done to you to make you, like nobody lied to you to make your life worse. And just remember, like the Bible said, seek and you shall find. So God spread all the things that we need out over the earth, and we're supposed to, in the planet and universe and all that, right? And we're supposed to seek it. But as we found it, we let people know what we thought we knew. But maybe what they thought they knew, they weren't real sure of the more powerful things and what they were or whatever and stuff. And maybe there was miscalculations in what they thought they were supposed to do. Excuse me. So where we're learning these new things that it's kind of like we were deceived, I want you to think about it in a way that is like, okay, trying to think. It's just kind of like you see something, right? You discovered it. And you see it for its face value, for what it is. And you're like, oh, this is a creature. You know, it's just a creature. We'll give it a name. All right, it's a creature. Okay. And you take it for its face value. But you don't realize the mystic superpower of the animal or whatever. And stuff happens. So, like, when we see something, we write down, when we see something, feel something, understand something as for what it is face value, then we write it down and we share it with other people as information or whatever. And then later on, something else reveals itself to you about this thing. And it's saying to you, yes, this was an animal, but it's not just an animal. So it wasn't like you were being lied to. They just really didn't know. So I think what happened was they really didn't know the power of what they were dealing with. And yes, certain things were hidden, but in the Bible it said that things would be hidden and you had to seek for them. So, you know, maybe in their intuition, in their beginning intuition, it was they felt they needed to hide it and people needed to seek it, and they made it so you could seek it and find it and go through tests and trials and tribulations, which that's all in the Bible. And just understand too, like a lot of people will argue about something in the Bible. It's like the Bible can help you be contradictive. It can help you. One thing in the Bible says this, another thing in the Bible says that. It doesn't mean that it's contradicting itself. It's technically teaching you. This is how I feel about this. It's technically teaching us. Now, like the thing that I heard, I think it's in the Bible. I've heard it in ministers. I think I read it. I think I heard it on, listening to audio Bibles and stuff. But it was something. There was something about you will know without knowing. And so we know something. We're allowed to know something. But there's always more to know. There's always more to learn. And sometimes you don't really even have to, you just have to put a little effort in looking and seeking. You don't have to. I don't really think you have to put in so much hard effort that you're hurting yourself or others and stuff or whatever. You just have to keep on going and and go at the pace that you can go at. Pace yourself. Don't end your life looking for stuff, seeking for stuff. Don't worry about the outcome of something because you don't know something. We're human, and we've been taught to do that. We've been taught to think and overthink and plan before we do anything. And if the plans aren't right, we don't do anything yet, and just sit there and ponder. And we all need to practice a little bit more just doing when we feel. You feel to do something, you felt to do something, then obviously, do that, because yourself, who you are, your heart, the universe is directing you towards things to do. If it feels like you shouldn't, of course don't. But also try to evaluate why not. Because you wanted to. Then you came up with, I shouldn't. Why? What's the reason you think you shouldn't? And then justify and evaluate whether or not you should. And then, if you do, okay, if you decide to, and then you come to a roadblock, the roadblock does not mean that you cannot get further on down the road. Usually if there's a roadblock, there's a detour. Anything where there's a stop, there's another way to get around it. There's another way to get over it. And if you really want it, and that's what we have to start learning about the universe. The universe is saying to you, how bad do you want this? It's not really poking and prodding and trying to make you feel uncomfortable. It's not really doing that. That's us always trying to have things perfect and needing, stuff or whatever. And when we try to get that, we feel like if we get that, we're going to be a little bit more perfect. And then if it's held back from us, we feel a little bit like, why the fuck would you hold back from me what I need? When that is the test. Your cockiness, your sarcasm, your attitude, when it comes to getting, not that you can't have one and still continue, not that you can't get mad and then when you're done, get up and keep going, because you can. But just because a roadblock comes up, don't stop. And stop blaming everybody, okay? Now, I know we will. In the heat of a moment, we're gonna be like, it's their fault, it's this fault, whatever. But then when you get done being mad, come back to forgiveness and realize that God didn't give us forgiveness to forgive everyone if they weren't capable of being forgiven. He wouldn't ask you to forgive anyone if it wasn't something that was right, if it wasn't something that was supposed to be done. People do people do tons of things that are in the Bible, but there are tons of things you don't do in the Bible. You don't forgive and you hold on to it. And, you can remember it, just, to watch out for them trying to do the same thing again or whatever. But still, just let go. Just forgive. The heated moment is over and now you see them, and just be peace in your heart again. And if they do that again, then don't get mad. Walk away, come back again. Remember, anybody doing anything bad, anything it seems like people are doing things bad to hurt you or make you mad or ruin your life or whatever, they're not. It's teaching you how to react. It's teaching you how to go through something and stop being like, oh, it's always out to get me. They're always out to do this. They're always out to hurt me. They're always out to, they just want to get under my skin. It just makes me feel terrible. I've been there. And it does. And you feel that way because we've been taught to feel that way. That is the normal feeling of life. When things come against you, it's coming against you because it doesn't want you to live, or it wants to take your life, or it wants to, whatever. And maybe it's just saying, like, look, we all got here going through this, okay? you're going to have to go through something to get here, where we are on the other side, where it is okay, where it is cool, but it's not okay and just cool. The same things that are happening to you now, trying to do something, trying to get there, when you get there will be things like that still. And you still have to learn to be patient and cool and whatever. Me telling you have to learn to be patient does not mean that I am perfectly patient. I have a lot of patience, I do. But just like any other person, when my body's fatigued, when I'm tired, when I feel hurt, when I feel, like I'm like a lack of breath, like you're just, like I just did. I went all the way to that post office. And they're like, you got to go to this post office. I went all the way to that post office on my bike, and the wind's blowing against me. And I'm like, how when you lift the weights and you can't hardly lift it anymore, and you're like, I'm like that. And then finally I get to the right post office, and friggin' the whole way, there was no bike route, there was no bike lane, there was no sidewalk. And it's dangerous because all the trucks are coming and shit. And I'm just like, this, whatever. But I was okay, and I made it, and I did it, and I got around it. And yeah, it was tough during that this morning. But now, I'm standing here back at work, and I'm listening to music, waving to the people, and they're coming in to eat. And they're all going through shit. And they just want to, stop into a nice place to eat. And have, the employees there treat them nice and have some nice food and relax and enjoy themselves for all that they had to go through in their week and stuff. And, and I have them having that. And I always manifest the employees are treating the customers well, and the customers are treating the employees well. And they all get along, and they love going there, and they love seeing those people over and over, which makes the employees want to stay and do a better job. And when they stay and do a better job and they're there a while, they get raises or promotions or whatever. So, I don't know. Just wanted to talk, had some ideas. You guys have a great day. Love you.